from Assembly District 37 is Wesley Duncan. His opponent is not here. I've advised Wesley that he will get a minute to introduce himself and tell the panel a little about himself and why he's doing something. And each question, you'll get a minute to answer. You will hear a beep. The beep is 50 seconds. Okay. So that'll give you a little, about 10 seconds to start gearing down. So how about if we do something different? We'll start with Jim. And then we'll go from Jim, Rob, and Karen, and then we'll start from this way and go back out that way.
And have the candidates answer from the right this time?
Well, considering his political philosophy, that should be nice. Okay, Wesley, tell the group who you are and why you're here.
Well, hi, my name is Wesley Duncan. I'm running for Assembly District 37. Running first time running for office. Before I started running for office, I was active duty Air Force. I was stationed here at Nellis Air Force Base from 2007 and on. So that's what brings me here to Las Vegas. I'm now in the reserves, and I serve as a judge advocate. So JAG. People always ask me, is that just like the TV show? I say, yes, exactly. I fly to work in a jet, and all my coworkers are extremely good looking. And then now I decided to leave active duty in August. I took the July 2011 bar exam here, and fortunately passed it. And so that's what brings me here.
Well, Wesley, first off, good evening. Thank you for your service and congratulations on passing the bar.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So the question I have for you is, out of all of the 2010 assembly persons, who are you most like? This will give us a feel for how you might vote.
Wow, that's a great question. I would say that probably where I line up with Senator Roberson, and also some of the more conservative candidates in the Assembly. John Hambrick, for example, is not a bad guy to be like, but I would say, yeah.
He doesn't vote.
Yeah. You know what, though, he might walk in my district for me, though, so I don't know. But yeah, you know, those folks believe in limited government. They believe in obviously a smaller tax burden on folks. Believe in, I guess, furnishing and allowing folks to actually go for themselves in the free market and not have government.
Since you're a veteran, I'll ask you a Veterans Court issue. One, are you familiar with the Veterans Court and what it does? And as a state legislature, would you expand its scope? Right now it only covers veterans who are charged with misdemeanor drug offenses. Would you expand that scope?
Yeah, I am familiar with the Veterans Court. I mean, it was first implemented, I believe, in Buffalo, New York, and Rochester, New York has done it. Anchorage, Alaska, and also Orange County has a Veterans Court. We also have a Veterans Court for misdemeanors. You know, I would have to look at that. In the Air Force, I defended folks who got into trouble, who got court-martialed and had those different things. And so, obviously, something in any criminal context, your background, what you faced, comes into as mitigation, and it comes into a whole picture of the person. You know, I would have to honestly look at how far we're going and how far we would want to expand those things. I believe in the Veterans Court. I'd like to see you know, continue to be implemented in our court system, because frankly, veterans and being over there myself, I know the struggles and the duress that folks are under, and it does take someone with a specialized understanding of that to really take into account. Well, here are some of the other things that are at work here when a person commits a crime, and so fully support the Veterans Court. I honestly would have to look into that more closely to say how far do we want to expand it.
What do they have PTSD?
Yeah, I mean, if they have PTSD, for example, you know, that is something that, well, should obviously be taken into account when looking at any crime that they commit. Because if you have a person that's doing 2, 3 tours in each theater, which I've seen routinely, I only had to do one tour in one theater, that you have to take that into account when you are sentencing or charging someone or anything. And so if we can implement something that our court systems will recognize those type of things, that would be a great thing for our veterans.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Duncan. Thank you for joining us. My name is Karen Stillman. I'm the Civilian Auxiliary Director. Really, I was just drinking water. We're veterans in politics. It's been a long day. There seems to increasingly be a trend in legislature to ignore the will of the people, and our elected officials are increasingly completely disregarding our own laws and our Constitution. I'd like you to give me a statement that's going to assure me that you are seeking office to be my representative, and that you'll fight the peer pressure that I'm sure you're going to come against to ensure that the will of the people is adhered to.
Sure. I can fundamentally tell you this, that even jumping into an assembly race like this, I took a lot of time to seek wisdom from people, a lot of prayer, a lot of talking to people, and fundamentally is this, that the people who are elected are our public servants, and it's the servanthood and being servant leadership that I believe in, that we are elected to be the mouthpiece of the folks that put us there. One of the reasons that I'm running is because I was frustrated with that very idea that our elected officials seem like they're aloof, they're disconnected from us. And so, for example, I've been walking my district since January. I put my personal cell phone number on my walking literature. I tell people that I want to hear from them, and that if sent to Carson City, and I have the opportunity to do that I am their mouthpiece. And that is, if you look at our founding fathers, if you look at the Federalist Papers, if you look at the way our Constitution was set up, we are put there, public servants are put there to serve. That's why I think term limits is a good idea. That's why I think I like the way the Nevada legislature is set up every other year, because you can go back and work your jobs and do those things and be in the community so that you don't get disconnected from the people that you represent. So that is my heart for the campaign, is to reach out to people. When I was knocking on doors today, for example, and people are excited that, hey, someone who's running is actually at their door. So I would hope that I can continue that into the legislature.
Thank you.
The Clark County School District is one of the largest couple of school districts in the United States. And by legislative fiat, we have a single school district per county in Nevada. Should it be split up? Would it be more efficient in its current form, or more efficient split up and then split up into, how should that be done?
Yeah, I guess the question is if you split it up, is the same administration or bureaucracy going to be continuing to have?
Yeah, does splitting it up give you 4 of the same bureaucracy, excuse me, or does it cut off the top level and just let the lower levels function?
Well, I think that if we could split it up into 3, 4, 5, and it's large, we're the 5th largest in the nation right now. And so if we could split it up and bring it back to more local control, i.e. through parents, through letting the principal, letting the teachers of the actual school have more control over the curriculum, I think would be a good thing. If we're just splitting it up for the sake of splitting it up so that the same bureaucracy is over it, I don't believe that that's a good thing. Love to see more local control. Love to see actually more charter schools and empowerment schools. Allow the free market to come in. You see in Louisiana post-Katrina, Bobby Jindal and what they've done there in Louisiana, they've allowed charter schools to come in. Their students' scores are actually rising, and the kids are getting more involved, and they're more excited. And I think more importantly for the taxpayers, that they're seeing results and they're paying less for the school.
Thanks for coming. Quick clarification question and a question. Are you a full-time JAG lawyer, or are you JAG reserve and then you do something else full-time?
Yeah, I'm now part-time. I'm what's called an individual mobilization augmentee, so I'm in the reserves. And so part-time reserve, and then I actually work in my district for a small firm. We do elder law, some civil litigation, wills, trusts, and estates, and things like that. So I work full-time. My employer's been great. He actually lets me come in around 6:30 a.m. He gets his hours billed out of me until about 2:30, and then I take off the tie and then head out to the district to walk and to do things. So it's been a good setup. So it's a long day, but he's been great. And he's a Democrat. He's working with me.
So my question, if elected to the assembly, what do you feel, what are you going to work toward in order to make Nevada more competitive, nationwide to attract employers?
Yeah, there are a few things, big systemic things that I see. First, obviously the education reform, getting, like I said, the charter schools, the empowerment schools in. Our taxes haven't been looked at since like the 80s, and so taking a look at our tax structure. Nevada is always said as a pretty business-friendly place, but when you couple county and city taxes with the state taxes, we're about the 29th friendliest place. So working with localities, making it more business-friendly. And then we have, I think, larger systemic issues that we have to look at down the line, like PERS, for example. PERS has a 10 to 40 billion liability, depending on what accountant you talk to. I mean, a business that wants to come into Nevada is going to have to take a look at long-term. Well, are they going to raise taxes to fill those unfunded liabilities? What type of things are we going to do? I think also I would like to see construction defect reform, some tort reform in that area, because what's happening is for home builders, subcontractors, they're getting sued by a few lawyers in this town that are making millions of dollars. And so that is driving up their costs. I mean, talking to the subcontractors, they've lost 80% of their workforce. I mean, that is an amazing amount, and it's because of lawsuits. It's because of those things. So I think we have big systemic things that maybe don't get done, obviously, in one session, but you look over 1-2 sessions down, and you look at the larger perspective, and those are the things that I think will help Nevada in the future.
Mr. Duncan, thank you for your service. You stated earlier that you feel you're probably most in alignment with Senator Roberson. However, Senator Roberson just recently issued a press release supporting the governor's stance on continuing the $600 and some odd million tax increase that should have been sunsetted in 2010.
Yeah.
What is your position on that? Are you going to support the governor, or are you going to support small business?
Well, I like the way you asked that.
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
When did you stop beating your wife?
That's right.
It's that you stopped.
It's a fair question. And the question that I was asked was, what legislator in the 2010 session did you most align yourself with?
Okay.
And so I just want to make that clarification.
Thank you. I love the lawyerese.
Here's my perspective on this. I am not going to, obviously in a race, say that I'm going to do one thing or another. Fundamentally, I can tell you this. I fundamentally believe, and this is from my experience in being in the Department of Defense and knowing how big government works, there's always places that you can cut. There is always wasteful things that are going on. And so my starting premise is to say that the beast always wants to get fed. The beast of government always wants to be fed. What can we do? I'm going to come from a position that says, instead of taxing people, instead of doing things, what are other things that we can do to look at instead of that? So, I think also, and I know that it beeped on me, I think certainly if we're going to make concessions like that right off the bat, then there should be something that's in return. And so there needs to be a discussion about that.
Right. Thank you so much.
Are there any follow-ons? Well, Wes, do you think this group treated you fairly?
I do.
Or you want to frag them?
No, it's not.
No, I know this guy was out walking up until about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate that you took the time. And
And he got dressed again, and he got dressed.
Yeah, you went and changed.
Didn't say he took a shower, he just got
Yeah,
dressed.
exactly.
What was your MOS?
What's that?
What was
Oh,
your MOS?
it was a jig. Yeah.
Again, Wes, thank you very
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you.
coming. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming.
Thanks.